So what are the 10 most underrated things in the history of Call of Duty Zombies? Well, of course, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I think those are, but I should probably explain what I mean by things. And I literally just mean things, and that means anything it could be. This could be as big as a whole game, a whole map, to as small as side Easter eggs or even Easter egg songs. This could really be anything. These are just like the most underrated things out of absolutely everything in Cod Zombies history. But with that, I encourage you guys to go along with me and head down to the comments and also share what you think are some of the most underrated things in general for Cod Zombies. But with all that said, let's not waste any more time and jump right into this video. So let's start off with a good one. How about the Dead of the Night side Easter eggs? And when I say side Easter eggs, I can just say all of them at once, and I could talk about all of the cool secret door Easter eggs, whether it be the pools, the leaking barrels, the books. All those are really cool. Like, you do a little side Easter egg and all of a sudden a little secret room opens and then you could collect a reward. That's very cool. But then there's also the steak knife that really fits the whole vibe of the map. And then of course there's the Savage Impaler side Easter egg, and this has to be the main reason why I made it onto this list, because the Savage Impaler side Easter egg is so cool, and I don't know why people don't really give this props. Like, sure, some of the steps to do it are a little, iffy, but once you do it, not only are you rewarded with the wonder weapon that's specifically made to kill specific enemies on this map, but on top of that, you have an entire new little area, a whole secret little crypt that is now available to you that wasn't available to you unless you did this side Easter egg. And personally, I'm just a sucker for all those like secret rooms side Easter eggs. I absolutely love stuff like that, and because of this, I think it belongs on this list. But how about some Easter egg songs? And the one I'm going to put here is actually The Gift from Revelations, because this Easter egg song is a top 5 easy, and how people don't recognize this song as a top 5 song is absolutely ridiculous, and people need to start doing that. And you know what, just as an example, let me play you a little clip of its best version, that theatrical version. So let's bring in some wonder weapons into this conversation. And which wonder weapon are we going with? How about the Kraken from Voyage of Despair? This wonder weapon is incredibly underrated, and nobody talks about it like they should because of a couple reasons that I'll touch on here in a second. But first things first, we gotta acknowledge with the Kraken, it is one of the coolest ideas of a wonder weapon of all time. Like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. You're literally just holding a whole cannon, like a 3-barrel cannon, brother. That's what the wonder weapon is, a 3-barrel cannon. If that ain't cool, I don't know what is. Definitely one of the coolest designs for a wonder weapon of all time. But on top of that, it's actually good into high rounds. Yeah, believe it or not, that's actually the case. I mean, I know people don't really realize this because the Hellion Salvo's in Black Ops 4, and that just makes nearly everything else irrelevant, but if it wasn't there, this would still be an incredibly solid choice to take you into high rounds. It could still kill into high rounds, and it's still pretty good at that. You know, it's just that other things kind of distract from that make people not realize how good this wonder weapon really was. But speaking of weapons, let's talk about regular weapons now. And when I say regular weapons, I just mean like SMGs, AR, shotguns, stuff like that. Anything that's not a wonder weapon or a ray gun. So what do we want to put here? How about the M14 from Black Ops 3? This thing is actually really, really good. I mean, just look at the gameplay I got on screen for you guys right now. We're on rounds, early 30s, and I'm one-shotting these zombies to the head. Like, this is literally Draken level good, and people just don't even use it. Like, when I see people play the Zombies Chronicles maps and they get the M14 out of the box and they throw it right back in because they think it's terrible, blows my mind, because like, this gun is so good. It is actually really, really good. I mean, the gameplay speaks for itself. Like, use this gun, it's good. So Cold War Zombies, how about that Zombies game? Yep, I think that the Zombies game is actually very underrated, or maybe not very underrated, because I think most people kind of realize it's pretty good, but I don't think on the same level that I think it is good. So I think in terms of gameplay, Cold War Zombies is like there with Black Ops 2. It is that good. Like, Black Ops 3 is obviously at the top, and then after that, I think like it's Cold War and BO2 fighting for that second spot in terms of gameplay. Like, it is just such a fun game to just get on and play and kill some zombies, which is something that I can't say about a lot of zombies games, but Cold War is one of those, and I absolutely love just getting on this game and killing zombies, which is such a rare thing in zombies, because it always felt like you need some other reason to get on and play zombies, to do an Easter egg, go for high rounds or something like that. But this one is very easy to just jump on and have some casual fun, which is a rare experience for me personally, and because of just the funness of this game, I definitely think it could compete with Black Ops 2 in terms of gameplay. So let's talk about some underrated characters, and for me, what is by far the most underrated character in Cod Zombies is the Shadow Man. Oh my gosh, he is such a good villain in his quotes and what he says and what he does. It's just like his whole vibe is so cool. I mean, he looks super cool already in his little apothecary suit and all that stuff. Like, he just is such a good character, and the only thing disappointing about him is that he wasn't used more in the story, and he wasn't more menacing when he was in the map, because that was a little weird that both times he showed up, you shot him and he backed up. But besides that, he was such a good villain, and I think if they used him more and more properly, he would have been the best villain in Cod Zombies history. But to really show off why he is such a good character is just to listen to one of his quotes, and you know what, I'm gonna leave you with one of his very many great quotes that he has.
"Oh, Edward, my dear Edward, he doesn't understand you. I do. Only through me, the Shadow Man, can you find your salvation."
But now let's talk about some underrated maps, and yeah, we're going with the Giant here. I think the Giant is super underrated. Like, people be dissing this map for no reason at all. Like, sure, it's a remade the Riza, and the Riza is probably better than the Giant. Like, I get that, don't get me wrong here, but I think it's right there with the Riza. Like, people be talking about the Riza as like an A tier map, a top A tier map. I think the Giant is right behind it. It is so good, not only because it is the Riza and has all the mechanics of that, but also the story it tells, the atmosphere it has. Like, wait, have you ever just walked around the map, you know, try to keep a zombie off you and just listen to random crying in the windows, or you look outside the map, you see the hanging body? Like, all of that I think is really cool, and things that we kind of didn't see as much in the Riza. Don't get me wrong, some of it was there, in fact a lot of it was there, but at the end of the day, I think like it still did a really good job at being the Riza, and it kind of like separated itself in terms of story, especially with the giant radios that in the end never got a payoff but still were really cool. Like, all of that was so cool, and I think because of that, it does hold its own and is just still there with the Riza. And we're back to talking about Dead of the Night. Yep, a map that should have been great but was terrible because of gameplay decisions that were made, and also was chaos. Regardless, why are we talking about it now? Well, the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere of this map was absolutely breathtaking. In fact, it's my favorite atmosphere for a zombies map ever. My favorite setting also ever. And this could just be a personal thing here, because I like the, you know, the old 1800 mansions all made out of marble and stuff like that. Like, that vibe is so cool to me. And then also you have the whole cemetery area and how the sounds change into being kind of a lot more calmer and stuff like that, and all the ambience that goes around with it. You have the forest, and then you also have kind of the gardens slash, you know, telescope area, which is probably the weirdest area of the map because I don't know how those two things met each other. But regardless, overall, the atmosphere of the map, whether it be the ambience, the look, the sounds, or whatever it may be, it is just so good, and I absolutely love it. So I don't know if this one should be on this list anymore. I know back in the day it should be, but whatever, I put it here, so I guess we're going to discuss it. But what it is the Gobblegum system from Black Ops 3. Yeah, this gobblegum system I think is actually so cool. It is probably one of the reasons why Black Ops 3 is so replayable, because what it allows you to do is go back to the same maps that you've played hundreds of times already over, but go back and play them in a different way. You don't play them the same way. You can play them without gobblegums, just with classics, or even a bunch of different combinations of classics, or even with all the megas and all the different combinations you can use there. And from those combinations, you try all these different strategies, whether you're trying to play as safe as possible, as fast as possible, as just whatever as possible. And it gives you so many options to play the maps in so many different ways, and I just absolutely love stuff like that, and it just made the game so replayable, and that's the reason why I think it belongs on this list. And for this final one, let's talk about a main Easter egg. And the Easter egg I'm going to go with is actually Outbreak's first main Easter egg. And some of you may be inclined to say that, wait, that Easter egg's not that underrated. I mean, a lot of people love the Legion boss fight, but that's exactly it, because I think most people acknowledge how good the Legion boss fight is, but they think of the Easter egg steps before that as just solely there just to get to the Legion boss fight. Like, the rest of them are just they're there, whatever. But I actually strongly disagree. I think the Easter egg steps before the Legion boss fight are actually great also. And I think the disconnect that people have here with what they think and what I think of this is that a lot of people will just think of this Easter egg as adjust the radios, talk to Samantha, find the correct monkey, get the reel, and then put it into the projector. Then you go do the boss fight, right? But you have to keep in mind, like, what did that do? After you did those two steps, what did you do? You unlocked an entirely new area in Ruka. Like, Ruka was a map, and now after you did those Easter egg steps, you have an entirely humongous area, like 3 rocket silos that you could go into, and a lot of areas in between. And if you guys couldn't tell from the Dead of the Night thing that I said, I like a lot of secret areas that you could unlock, and this is the king of that. Literally, you have nearly an entirely new map to play after doing that, which is so freaking cool and so underrated. And on top of that, you still have to do Easter egg steps while you are down here. I mean, you have to go get all of the 3 launch keys through the monkey, of course, then there's the red mimic one, and finally with the jellyfish one. And then after that, you just have to hit the buttons in the correct order, then you do Legion boss fight, which is also great. And because of all that, I think that this Easter egg is incredibly underrated.